welcome to Nina's Knots Crochet. I'm Lynanne. If you're new here, hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out my channel. My channel? Well, it's all about crochet. Today, it's all about Tunisian crochet. Around here, it's Tunisian Tuesday. Returning subscribers, thanks so much for coming back, spending a little bit of your Tuesday with me. So today I am debuting the tutorial for my Boggy blanket that I designed using Tunisian crochet. You know, I took Lynette up on her challenge for podcasters and designers to come up with a semi-original blanket. I mean, come on, there's just so many stitches, and how much can you really do? Well, if this is a blanket out there, I just picked a stitch that I liked, and I went with it until I had a whole blanket. So this is what I am calling the Up with Kindness blanket. You might have seen a bit of it on my Facebook page. It's at 37 to 38 inches wide, about 42 to 43 inches long. So it fits the parameters perfectly. It's bright, it's sunny. I love this yarn, and we're going to talk about the yarn here in a minute. It's a very easy one row repeat with just a little tiny border here and a built-in border on the end. And you can just see it kind of looks like a Jacob's ladder. Some people call this a rib stitch. Some people call this an arrow stitch. So whatever you want to call it, you can call it. But it's a really, really easy pattern, and I'll show you. Let's talk about the yarn that I used. I used the Big Twist Rave. I used 3 cakes, and there are 312 yards, 150 grams of 100% acrylic in each one. I used all 3 of these, with the exception, and this is where we're going to talk about the yarn, this much. Now, in the first cake, I didn't have any, well, the first 2 cakes, I didn't have any problem. The colors that I used were Super Beach, which was the pink and the orange, and then Citric Circus, which was the orange and the yellow. And this is a 4-weight yarn, so any 4-weight yarn will work. In my second cake of the Super Beach, I came across a bunch of sections of this uber unspun fluffy nonsense that I ended up having to cut out because this just didn't work. So there's 3, maybe, I think there might be 1 more that the cat's got, but yeah, this just did not work. So I had to cut that out. These were the only sections. The rest of it was, you know, there was sometimes it would get a little bit thinner, but it never got blown up like that. So I don't know if it was just this cake or what, but I gotta tell you, I do like this yarn. I like the feel of it. It's got a little bit of a halo, you can see, but the colors, look at, that's the Super Beach with the bright orange and the pink. And then you get into this section with the orange and the yellow, that's the Citric Circus. And then back into the yellow or the orange and the pink. It's a nice cozy blanket. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. I think, and it makes a really nice fabric, and I think it is really, really cute. So I did use a 10mm hook with a cord. Now, if you have, you know, the cords that, where's my cord? This is the one I used. I used my 10mm Knitter's Pride with a long cord. If you have, and I can't find my set right now, the wooden set with the plastic cords on it, that works too. You can use that if that's the set that you have. It'll work out just fine. So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get it on a straight hook because there's too many hooks, unless you have a super long one. Now, I know there are longer ones available, but if you got the inexpensive set from Amazon, this won't quite fit. So I am going to flip you guys around and get the table set up, and we are going to show you how to make the Up with Kindness blanket that I designed as a Boggy Creek challenge. And I hope that somebody out there will make this for Boggy Creek, because I think, you know, there are a lot of other challenges going on out there, but there's just not a whole lot of Tunisian going on. So let's see how many of these Tunisian blankets, or any Tunisian blankets, we can get sent to the kids. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna flip you around and show you how to make this really cute blanket. Okay, guys, so here's a more close-up view of the actual stitch that we're gonna be doing for this blanket. You know, here at the top, we've got a row of single crochets, a row of purls, and then we get into the really cute design. This arrow up, or if you flip it the other way, the V, always pointing up. That's why I called this Up with Kindness. We're going to be using the knit stitch, the simple stitch, a full stitch, and the purl stitch to get this blanket done. So let me tell you what you're going to need to make this blanket. You're going to need a 10mm hook. Now, if you do not have a 10mm hook, if you want to go with an 8mm hook, I'll explain to you how you can get that done. You need some 4-weight yarn. You are going to need a lot of stitch markers. Any kind that works for you is fine. Personally, for me, these big lobster class ones worked well, but these also do work pretty well, the little safety pin looking ones. And you're going to need a darning needle and a pair of scissors that I have stuck. There we go.
Live from Pickleball.
Alexa, stop. So you're going to need to gather all of your supplies, and once you have that, we will get started on how to make the Up with Kindness blanket. So if you do not have a number 10mm hook, which is a US 15, you can do this with a size 8mm hook, which I believe most sets come with. You're just going to have to adjust your starting chain and your stitch count, and that's fine. We can do this, and I'll tell you how to do it. We're going to do with a multiple of 5, but always ending in a number that ends in 5. If you're using a 10mm hook, you're going to use 85 as your starting chain. But I'm going to explain that a little bit further for you in a minute. If you do go to the 8mm, you're probably going to want to go to either 95 or 105 stitches, but just make sure that it's multiples of 5, but the number ends in 5. I hope that makes sense. If you need some clarification, you know how to get a hold of me. Just shoot me an email or leave me a comment in this video. So you're going to start with a chain, whatever you're doing. If you're doing the 85 chains, you're going to do 85, and then you're going to add 1, because we're going to do a row of single crochets just to get it started so that we don't have a ton of curling. So I have 26 chains done. We're going to go from second chain from the hook, and we are going to do a single crochet, and we are going to do that all the way down until we get to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and let you get going on that. Get your chain started, either this is 105 or if it's 85 like I am doing for my blanket. Whatever it is, I'll let you get started on it. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our chain done, right? We're all set. So now we're going to do our setup row, and you know, that's super easy. We're going to go into that first chain right there. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull up a loop, and we're going to do that all the way down until we have, you know, we reach the end, and we are going to have the same number of stitches or loops on our hook that we have in our starting chain. So for me, that's going to be a 25, because that's the number of chains I wanted to start with, right? So let's make sure we got that. Dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to go fast here, guys. I don't want this tutorial to last forever and ever and ever. I know people don't like tutorials that go really long. Now, if you can hear the rain, that's Tropical Storm Debbie bearing down on us. It is 6:30 currently, and yeah, it's raining pretty hard, and they say it's going to get worse before it gets better here. So thought I'd get this done before we lost power and all that stuff, because I needed to get this done. So anyway, okay, so there's my last one. Don't forget, when you do your last loop, you're going in the end to get both of those to get that nice edge for your edge stitch. So I should have 25 loops on my hook. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. And then from there, you guys just do, I'm trying to make sure I'm in the right spot. Let's just do, you know, the regular return pass. Nothing special at this point. Now, coming up soon, we are going to be doing a special return pass, but it's not difficult. You guys can do this. So we're just going to go boogieing on down. Oop, slow down. There we go. Okay, so the next row we're going to do is we're going to do a row of purl stitches. And the reason I'm doing it this way with a single crochet and then a row of purl stitches is so that we avoid the curling on the end. It's a trick I heard somewhere along the way, and it really did make a difference. So you know how to do a purl, right? Yarn over, go under that leg, pull up a loop, and you've got your purl stitch. So go ahead and purl your way all the way across till you get to the edge. I don't do the purl stitch as fast as some of the other stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and then when I get to the end, I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, you guys, so this is the portion where you're going to need your stitch markers. So get stitch markers handy. If you are doing it with the 85 stitches that I started with, you're going to need 16 stitch markers. If you're going to increase your count, you're going to need to increase your number of stitch markers. So this is a really simple row repeat. For the first stitch, of course, you know, we don't ever use that first stitch. We're going to knit the first 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So those are knit stitches. Now, if you don't know exactly how to do a knit stitch, check out some tutorials. I have a tutorial on my channel. There are lots of people out there that can teach you how to do the knit stitch. The next stitch is going to be a full stitch into the next space. Then you're going to do a full stitch into the next space. So basically we're bracketing the next stitch with 2 full stitches. And you're going to get your stitch marker, and you are going to capture both of those loops with your stitch marker so that we have those 2 marked. Now, from here we're going to do simple stitches. So we're going to simple stitch the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to do that special stitch again. We're going to full stitch into the space, full stitch into the next space. So we've bracketed this stitch with 2 full stitches, and we're going to put a stitch marker around both of those loops. Then we are going to full stitch the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the pattern, you guys. 4 simple stitches, then full stitches, bracketing the next stitch. So you got 2 full stitches around the next stitch. You're going to mark them off with your stitch marker, and then you're going to do 4 more simple stitches. You're going to repeat this all the way down until you get to the last 5 stitches. Okay, I have my last 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to bracket this stitch with the full stitches, and we are going to put a stitch marker around it. Then we're going to do knit stitch for the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then our traditional full stitch. Now, you'll notice you've increased your stitches on the V. When you are using the 85 stitches, you will increase your stitches by 16, which will give you 101 if you want to count your stitches. And then the return pass. This is I think this is the fun part, okay? So we're going to do the regular chain 1, yarn over and pull through 2 until you get to the stitch marker. Once you've reached that stitch marker, you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3. And that closes up that V. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 until you get to the next stitch marker. And then you're going to pull through 3. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 till you get to the next stitch marker. Yarn over and pull through 3. Oops, I pulled, what did I pull with that one? Let's get that back on there. Yarn over and pull through 3. Got it? Then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 until you've reached the stitch marker, yarn over, pull through 3. Then you're going to just yarn over, pull through 2 until you get to the end. See, I told you it wasn't difficult. So let's do that again one more time so you can see how easy this is to do. We're going to knit stitch 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh man, that yarn split bad. Trying to get back out of that. That split really bad. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to around both of those stitches, because this is making your V. Can you see that, how it's making the V? We're going to full stitch in the space, full stitch in the space, move up our stitch marker to capture both of those stitches, or both of those loops. Then we're going to simple stitch the next 4. Now we're going to, here we are at our stitch marker, right? So we're going to full stitch into the space and full stitch in the space on the other side. So we're bracketing that V, and we're going to move up our stitch marker, making sure to grab both loops, and then we're going to simple stitch. And now we've got our we're going to get into that space before and after the 2 that are clipped together and move up our stitch marker. And then we're going to simple stitch again. You're going to keep repeating this until you get to your last stitch marker. We're going to get in that space, get in that space, and we're going to grab both loops with our stitch marker, and then we're going to knit to our last stitch. Knit, 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 and then our traditional edge stitch, which is we're just turning over and getting both loops. Then we're going to chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 till we get to that stitch marker. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 3. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 till we get to the next stitch marker. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 3. Yarn over, pull through 2 till we get to the next stitch marker. Yarn over and pull through 3. Now you're going to do that until you get to your last stitch marker. When you get to your last stitch marker, you're going to yarn over, pull through 3, and then you're just going to yarn over, pull through 2 till you get to your last stitch, till you have 1 loop left on your hook. And you can see how cute this is going to be. You can see it starting to develop. Now you may get to the point where you're used to the rhythm and you won't need the stitch markers. I found I needed it the whole way through because I would get going and I would skip pulling through 3, have to back it out and go back. So I recommend the stitch markers. Now if you're more an advanced Tunisian crocheter and you can do it without it, more pleasure to you. It does slow you a little bit down when you're having to change the stitch markers, but I find it, it's just easier and you're not skipping your stitches and you're not dropping stitches and it just makes for an easier time. So let's do a forward pass and a return pass one more time. We're going to knit the first 4. We are going to full stitch on the front and the back of the 2 together. We're going to move up our stitch marker, making sure that we grab both loops. Then we're going to go into our simple stitch. So we're going to simple stitch 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to full stitch around that upside down V, peak, arrow, whatever you want to call it. Move our stitch marker up. Simple stitch again to the next stitch marker. And that's the repeat, guys. Let's see, we're gonna full stitch around that arrow stitch, V stitch, upside down V stitch, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna move up our stitch marker. We're gonna simple stitch to the next stitch marker. Now you keep going until you get to your last stitch marker in your chain. This is my last one in this sample, so we're going to full stitch in front, full stitch behind. We're going to move up our stitch marker. And then we're going to knit to our last stitch. And then we're going to do the full stitch. Right, oops, I'm going the wrong way. Right into that last stitch. And then we're going to do our return pass, which is a little bit different than a normal return pass, but it's not difficult. And again, this is where our stitch markers come in to play, right? I'm trying to get a little more yarn, so I don't have to keep pulling on it, but I don't think it's going to cooperate. There we go. Okay. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 1, chain 1, however you want to call it, then yarn over, pull through 2 till we get to the stitch marker, At the stitch marker, we're going to yarn over and pull through 3. Again, yarn over and pull through 2 until you get to the next stitch marker, yarn over and pull through 3. Yarn over, pull through 2 till you get to your next stitch marker, yarn over and pull through 3. And you're going to keep going that way until you get to your last stitch marker. Here's my last one. Yarn over, pull through 3, then yarn over, pull through 2 until you get down to 1 loop on your hook. There you go, guys. That's the pattern. Super easy. Now, I did this with my starting chain, of 85 for 106 rows. So you just keep on going until you get to 106 rows or however many it is, depending on your tension, until you hit the size. Now, to finish the bind off, this is how we're going to do that. So we're going to kind of reverse engineer what we did down here. So we're going to go ahead and purl our way across. So we're going to, obviously not in this one, we're going to purl 1. We're going to purl this. Now I've come to the stitch marker. Oops, not quite. I've come to the stitch marker, and we're going to purl around both of those. So you're going to catch both of those loops so that you've purled the V. Oops, I went around all of them. I need to go that far, but see how I did that? Somehow I caught all of them. You're just going to purl those front 2 loops. Now you can remove your stitch marker at this point if it gets in your way. And then we're going to purl again till we get to the next stitch marker. Keep right on purling. And then when you get here to where the stitch marker is, you're going to purl those 2 together. Just like that. And then you're going to purl to the next one. And then you're going to purl these 2 together when you get to your next stitch marker. And you just keep on going, just like that, all the way to the end until you reach that last stitch. Oops, I just did 2 together there. We don't want that there. Now we want the 2 together. So we're going to go underneath both of those loops, purl those. And then right on to the end. And then a traditional edge stitch. Underneath both loops, pull up a loop. Now this is where you'll end up back with your original 85 because we've purled together the V. So you'll be back to your original 85 or whatever your original was without the increases for the V. And you just do a traditional return pass. Yarn over and pull through 2 all the way down until you reach the end. Right? We got this. Right on down, yarning over, pulling through 2. Oops. And then the last step is to just do a bind off, a traditional simple bind off. So I just do a traditional slip stitch bind off. If you want, you can do a single crochet bind off. Either one looks well. So I'll do the traditional, I'll do the single crochet. So you're going to go under like you're doing a simple stitch and then a single crochet. Super easy. Single crochet. Under that loop, pull up a loop, single crochet. Do that all the way across until you're done. And that is where you'll fasten off. And it will look pretty much the same top and bottom. Now it's going to look a little bit different, but not that noticeable. Come on now, yarn, cooperate. My yarn is not cooperating, you guys. Of course, it's right up to the end and it's going to get in a big old knot on me. Oh, goodness gracious. So you just right like that, all the way to the end. Now, if you want to do a slip stitch, you can do the slip stitch. Whatever you're comfortable with. I just figured since we started with a single crochet and with a single crochet, kind of gives it a little bit of symmetry. And I think it looks just as nice. I think that the single crochet bind off, it may be a little bit looser than a slip stitch, but I still think it gives the same look that we're looking for. So there you go. And my yarn's too knotted to keep going, you guys. So there you go. That is the Up with Kindness blanket. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Leave me a comment, send me an email, whatever. I hope that some of you will do this blanket for Boggy Creek. It was a lot of fun for me to design. I love the yarn. I love the colors. So if you join in, great. If not, I hope that maybe someday you'll use this stitch for something else. So until then, remember to take care of yourself and give yourself some grace. But above all, be kind to everyone, and we'll see you next time.